Once upon a time, in a small village on the outskirts of a bustling city, lived a young girl named Maya. Maya was a beautiful and kind-hearted girl who was loved by everyone in the village. She had a soft spot for a young man named Rohit, who was the son of the village head. Rohit was tall, handsome, and had a way with words that made him very popular among the people in the village. He was known to be charming, witty, and could talk his way out of any situation. Rohit had his eyes set on Maya and he would often try to impress her with his words and actions. Maya, on the other hand, was not easily impressed. She was a simple girl who valued honesty, integrity, and sincerity above all else. She had heard the saying, "If a man doesn't love you, he talks about you," by Gautam Buddha. And she was always mindful of Rohit's actions around her. One day, Rohit came to Maya and asked her to go for a walk with him. Maya was hesitant at first, but then decided to go with him as she wanted to give him a chance. As they walked, Rohit started to talk about other girls in the village and how beautiful they were. Maya was taken aback by his words and felt hurt that he was talking about other girls in front of her. Rohit noticed the change in Maya's expression and quickly changed the topic. He started talking about how he was the son of the village head and how he was destined for greatness. Maya listened politely but could sense that he was not being genuine. As they walked further, Rohit started to boast about his wealth, his possessions, and his connections. Maya was appalled by his behavior and could not believe that he was talking about himself in such a manner. She remembered the saying by Gautam Buddha and realized that Rohit did not love her, but was only interested in showing off. Maya decided to confront Rohit and asked him why he was talking about other girls and himself in front of her. Rohit was taken aback by Maya's directness and tried to brush it off by saying that he was only joking. Maya was not convinced and told him that she did not want to spend time with someone who did not value her for who she was. Rohit was stunned by Maya's honesty and could not believe that she was not falling for his charms. He realized that he had been too focused on impressing her and had forgotten to be sincere and genuine in his interactions with her. He apologized to Maya and promised to be better. Maya forgave Rohit but told him that she needed some time to think. She walked away from him, deep in thought about what had just happened. She remembered the saying by Gautam Buddha and realized that it was true. If a man doesn't love you, he talks about other things. Days turned into weeks and weeks turned into months. Rohit had changed his behavior and was now sincere and genuine in his interactions with Maya. He no longer talked about other girls or himself but focused on Maya and her interests. Maya was impressed by Rohit's change and started to develop feelings for him. One day, Rohit came to Maya and asked her to marry him. Maya was overjoyed and said yes. They got married in a small ceremony in the village and lived happily ever after. Maya had learned a valuable lesson from Gautam Buddha's saying and had found true love in the end. The saying, "If a man doesn't love you, he talks about other things," had become a mantra for Maya and she passed it on to her children and grandchildren. It became a guiding principle for the women in the village, and they would often use it to navigate their relationships with men. Years went by and Maya and Rohit grew old together. They had built a life together based on honesty, integrity, and sincerity. Maya had never forgotten the lesson she had learned from Gautam Buddha's saying, and had always kept it close to her heart. One day, as Maya was sitting on her porch, reflecting on her life, she saw a young girl walking towards her. The girl looked lost and confused, and Maya could sense that she was troubled. Maya asked the girl what was wrong, and the girl told her that she had just broken up with her boyfriend. Maya listened patiently and asked the girl if she had heard the saying, "If a man doesn't love you, he talks about other things." The girl shook her head, and Maya explained the meaning of the saying to her. The girl was amazed by the wisdom of the saying and thanked Maya for her advice. She walked away feeling empowered and enlightened. Maya realized that the saying had become a part of her legacy and that she had passed on a valuable lesson to the next generation. She felt grateful for having learned the lesson and for being able to share it with others. As Maya sat there, lost in thought, she realized that the saying was not just about relationships with men. It was about valuing oneself and recognizing one's worth. It was about being true to oneself and not compromising on one's values. Maya smiled to herself, knowing that she had lived her life based on these principles. She had found true love with Rohit, because he had valued her for who she was and had always been sincere and genuine in his interactions with her. The saying by Gautam Buddha had guided her through life and had become a source of wisdom for the women in her village. Maya felt proud to have been a part of this legacy and knew that it would continue to inspire and empower future generations of women. In the end, Maya realized that true love was not about grand gestures or empty promises. It was about valuing oneself and recognizing one's worth. It was about being sincere, genuine, and honest in one's interactions with others. As Maya closed her eyes, she whispered a silent thank you to Gautam Buddha for his wise words and to Rohit for his love and sincerity. She knew that she had lived a full and meaningful life and that her legacy would live on through the generations to come. As the years passed, Maya became a revered member of her community, known for her wisdom and her unwavering commitment to the values that Gautam Buddha had taught her. She continued to share the saying with the women in her village, and it became a common refrain among them. One day, Maya received news that Gautam Buddha himself was passing through the village on his way to a nearby town. Maya was overjoyed at the prospect of meeting the man who had inspired her so deeply. As soon as she heard the news, Maya set out to meet Gautam Buddha. She walked for hours, determined to reach him and express her gratitude for his teachings. Finally, she reached the outskirts of the village, where he was staying. Maya approached Gautam Buddha and bowed respectfully before him. He smiled kindly at her and asked her what was on her mind. Maya told him about how his saying had guided her through life and had become a source of inspiration for the women in her village. Gautam Buddha listened carefully and nodded his head in approval. "I am glad to hear that my words have had such a positive impact," he said. "But remember, Maya, the saying is not just about relationships with men. It is about valuing oneself and recognizing one's worth." Maya nodded, understanding exactly what he meant. "I have lived my life based on those principles," she said, "and I will continue to do so for as long as I live." Gautam Buddha smiled at her and placed his hand on her shoulder. "You are a wise woman, Maya," he said, "and your legacy will live on through the generations to come." Maya felt a deep sense of gratitude towards Gautam Buddha for his words of wisdom and for the inspiration he had provided her with. As she walked back to her village, she felt a renewed sense of purpose and determination. She knew that she had a responsibility to share Gautam Buddha's teachings with others and to help them find their own sense of purpose and meaning. And she knew that as long as she stayed true to herself and continued to value herself and others, she would be able to do just that. In the years that followed, Maya became a spiritual leader in her village, sharing Gautam Buddha's teachings with anyone who would listen. Her words of wisdom and her unwavering commitment to her values inspired countless women to find their own sense of purpose and meaning in life. And as Maya approached the end of her life, she knew that she had lived a full and meaningful existence. She had found true love with Rohit, and she had shared the wisdom of Gautam Buddha with countless others. As she took her final breaths, she whispered a silent prayer of gratitude to Gautam Buddha for his words of wisdom and to Rohit for his love and support. She knew that her legacy would live on through the generations to come and that her spirit would continue to guide and inspire others for generations to come.